Deals with the devil. I think that's what Anthropic is doing again. We'll see.
I'd like to know exactly what you mean by that.
Well, it appears that Anthropic has gone into a partnership with SpaceX, i.e., Elon Musk,
Oh,
i.e.,
okay.
Trump's little, boy, um, to, I guess they're pulling a bunch of compute from
Right.
SpaceX. So, I don't know. I anything that has to do with Trump, Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla, I take all this like grain of salt kind of thing. It's like, I don't know. I think it's a deal with the devil because that guy is so unpredictable.
Well, listen, before we go any further, let's remind everybody, if they don't already know, you are watching the pairing mode or listening possibly in your car or wherever. And I am Lionel from Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert from Nashville, Tennessee.
And on this program, if you're new, we talk about tech stuff. But of course, of late, it's AI, and AI, which you probably heard Robert say just like that last week. Speaking of Anthropic and deals, they've also got a massive deal with Google. Excuse me while I look over here because I don't put this to memory and I don't have a teleprompter. We have here a little bit of a deal. Anthropic, how's it? Sorry, I have to read it properly. They've committed to multiple gigawatts of next generation TPU capacity from Google Cloud. I should mention that when Google made this announcement, or when they made this announcement, it was Google stock went up again. Because they've been making a lot of very positive flow announcements, including the amount of money that they are making and projected to make. And they're also now on the cusp of actually catching up to and surpassing NVIDIA as the richest company on the planet, which they haven't been in. It's something like 13 or 14 or 15 years. I think it's close to 13.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't that all those numbers are bigger than I'll ever see, so I don't pay attention to it.
But here's the thing: it's important because Google really is in a fight on this, and right now they're fighting it the right way. They're allowing other companies, because competition is everything, and so is money, obviously. So they're allowing they're doing deals with other companies so that they can use their silicon, their TPUs, their and everything. And the cloud computing, because it's where their big money comes from now. If you think, oh, they just make money off advertising from the search. No, that's actually apparently only something like 13%. Most of their revenue is coming right now from cloud computing, as well as other things.
Really?
13%? Well, maybe it's higher than that, but it's not a lot. Maybe it's 33 or something. I don't know. It's not a majority. It's not even half. Don't get me wrong. They still make billions. I mean, if you cut off everything else, Google will still be probably top 100 in the world with just the advertising. But yeah, no, they're making most of the money off their cloud computing at this point, which is not surprising, really, when you think about it, because they've probably, I don't know how much more cloud computing they have now than 5 years ago, but I'm willing to bet it's 3 times or more. What it was even 5 years ago. They've added a lot, and of course they're switching all of their cloud computing over to their own silicon. Well, at least the part where they need it for agentic and AI and agentic AI and everything. They're probably still using older silicon for some of their basic search functions and whatnot. But
I think you have your percentages backwards.
Well, I didn't. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I apologize. What are you
No,
seeing?
that's okay. I was just so I want to clarify
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people go, "Hey, you guys, you did fact check."
Well, yeah.
Google Cloud, the Google search is 56%.
The Google search is
So they,
56%. 56%
yeah,
of the bit. Are you talking about financially? Like how much money they make? Because the numbers, if you're looking at search numbers and you're looking at something that is drawing from even 6 months ago, that may very well be true. But as of last week, that's not the case anymore. I mean, the deal they did with them and Anthropic and with Apple and a few other things completely changed the game on that. They're making billions more than they were, and none of it has to do with search. It's literally all
well,
about cloud
I
computing
don't,
and AI.
yeah, but there's no way they're going to go from 56% to
It's actually very easy
18%.
because again, just listen, billions of dollars. And the Anthropic side, I can't remember. It doesn't say in here what I'm looking at right now, the amount, but it is billions, plural, that they're actually committing to paying Google for their cloud computing. Why is Gemini listening to me right now? Stop it, Gemini. Stop listening. It didn't work.
So, quarter one of this year, Google search revenue is up 19% over last year to $60.4 billion.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me. Say that again. My idiot Puck here
Now,
was talking to
as
me.
first quarter of this year, Google search revenue is up 19% to over $60 billion.
Okay, well, first of all, let's move on because we're not. Stop listening to me. What are you doing? Anyways, this has nothing to do with that. You're basically just searching for something to argue that point right now. What I'm telling
No, I
you
just want
is
everyone
that
to know
no, but
what the actual
I
numbers are.
understand what you're saying, but again, we're talking about like it's up by such and such a percentage and $60 billion. Google's commitment from just Apple, well, not Apple, sorry, Anthropic alone is like 10% of that. Just from Anthropic. What I'm saying is their business has gone up, and the reason that their stock is up is because of the multiple billions of dollars worth of deals that they have made and committed to. And it's not the search that did it. That's what I'm saying. So, like I said, I
Understood.
don't have the numbers in front of me. But what I read, if it was incorrect, so be it. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't cite it perfectly. But all I'm saying is search is not the number one moneymaker for Google as of right this minute, which is shocking to me, too. But at the same time, it's not. Because when you think about it, Google has to have millions of people searching and these advertisements coming up all over the place every day, all day, for them to make a few $1 billion a day. But they only need to make one deal with Anthropic, and they've got $30 billion in their pocket instantly. You understand what
Yes,
I'm
but keep
saying?
this in mind.
What's that?
Keep this aspect in mind that I think you're missing is all of these people that are using their compute to use their LLMs and their chat agents and whatever they're using it for use Google search for a lot of their actual
Of course they do, but
information,
that's not
which
what we're talking
adds
about.
to that whole
Yeah,
total.
no, see,
So,
what you're doing is you're splitting hairs, and you're basically trying to say no,
well,
they're not making as
I
much money because people are still using search. That's like saying I'm not going to use any like arguing
no,
that
I'm not.
people
That's
still
not what
use
I'm saying.
potatoes because they want to have French fries. But I can tell you
It's not
right
what I'm
now,
saying at
more
all.
people buy French fries than they do bags of potatoes on average in North
I still
America.
think search is Google's. I still think it brings in more money than anything else does.
Well, you know what? We're going to find out. We're going to get back to you next week. Let's move on. We have to talk about something else now, and it's going to be a completely different topic. Google and their deal with Apple. There's nothing else to talk about lately. It's all Google and what's wrong with my? Oh, did I just freeze up for a second there?
No.
Okay. Well, we all know about the whole Apple thing. But apparently, there's a little bit more details coming through. They're calling them rumors, but it's pretty much set in stone at this point. There's more of a description of how Gemini is working with Apple and Siri and all that. Um, Apple is apparently, according to the rumor, going to have, I guess, let's call it a switch or a toggle or someplace you can make a choice within your iPhone or iPad on how you want to use Siri's services other than just the built-in Siri stuff itself, which will be built over top of Gemini itself. But people will be able to either choose ChatGPT or Gemini when they want it to look outside the phone for information. So when it goes into the full LLM model outside of the local model, people can choose ChatGPT or that, and apparently, probably in the future there'll be other third-party LLMs that they can choose. But the big thing that I bring this up for is that with Gemini basically built pretty much right into it, it really doesn't matter what the other ones are capable of doing because it's going to always work better with itself. And Siri is sitting on top of Gemini when they
Right.
finally put it out because the reason it's going to be able to have those agentic abilities of Gemini, they're not going to pay Google $1 billion a year to be able to use that without that, because it's built in, and that's why they did it. Otherwise, it wouldn't cost them $1 billion. Well, it might with all those users using the tokens, but it's kind of a
Yeah.
guaranteed price, right? And that does help them. But here's the thing: if you use the third-party ones, including ChatGPT, you're going to get basic functionality unless you have a paid account. You won't need to do that with the Gemini stuff unless you want it to go inside Gemini without having to open the Gemini app. And meaning Siri's going to be able to do almost everything the Gemini app can do, but you won't have to have the Gemini app to do it. You just get Siri to do it, and it will use Gemini's models.
Yeah.
So you won't have to pay 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever dollars to get it to do stuff locally. And all the search stuff it does, or just regular questions, you're going to have a bigger context window. So that's just something I think people should consider seriously when they get it on their iDevices.
What version of iOS is it coming out on? I was trying to look at my
27,
phone here.
without a doubt. It's not going to be 26 point anything. It'll be 27.
Okay.
So we're looking at the fall or late summer, whenever it is they actually do it. So until then, I think probably might start seeing something pop up in a beta, but I doubt that they'll put the full version out and let people, dabble with it without being able to give it to everybody. They're not Google. They don't do that. They may give a minor functionality in a beta.
Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see. And I think obviously it being on top of Gemini makes a lot of sense because, like you said, the first layer that it hits when you give a command is going to be Siri. Siri can do
Right.
all on device stuff and all that crap. But then when it gets a command that it can't do on device or that it's outside of its parameters, then it obviously spools up the old Gemini and it's all seamless. Obviously, it happens microseconds, but it makes total sense.
Yeah. Because currently, right now, if you were to use it, if they were to implement it the way they do, or kind of the way they do it with ChatGPT right now, you ask it a question and it'll tell you the weather or tell you how to get to the next bus stop or directions to the Piggly Wiggly or something. And then you get little links or whatever, right? And a few years ago, that was awesome. Right? But today, no. So when it's available, it'll be more the way you do or I do, or almost anybody with an Android phone today does it, at least modern Android phone. Is you can ask the same question and it'll actually talk to you, and you'll be able to talk to it just like you or I can talk to Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or whatever. And it'll be normal, and then people won't look at me funny anymore and call my Gemini by names because they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All those eye people. Well, the sheeple are getting on board here now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
The
hear. I can't wait to hear all the iPhone people bragging to me about how their phone can do this and that, and I can tell it to turn my lights on and the TV off, and set my toaster oven, my smart toaster oven, and my coffee maker all at the same time without having to break a sweat. I don't have to stop and do it a second time. I'm like, yeah, and I've been doing
the other
that for
day
how
that
long
said,
now?
yeah, somebody did the other day. Said, oh, this new version of iOS, I can do this. And I looked at him. I said, I've been able to do that for like 7 years. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and yeah, you know what? It's actually going to be kind of nice though, because, like I said, competition is everything. Despite the fact that they're all basically paying each other for services now, you know, uh, it's still good to see, because they still put hardware and software that Google doesn't do, that Samsung doesn't do, and other companies don't do, and so it's competition. It's obviously not making things cheaper like we'd like, but it does make things better. So, speaking of better, apparently we're going to have some competition for the, what do you call it again? The DJI Extra Muse, the, the DJI Pocket 3 and 4, I guess, technically now, because the 4 is coming out, and the Extra
Well, and the
Muse.
4 has got the Pro thing that's got dual lenses on it. And one of the
No,
lenses actually
wait a
has
minute, hang on a second. That was just a
optical zoom.
rumor. They've
No,
already. I thought they
that's not
already
just a
announced it, and they
rumor.
said that's not true.
Where'd you hear that? Because
Where did you hear it?
I've seen stuff from them being advertised.
Yeah, I saw
Dual
fake stuff from
lens.
them that wasn't from them. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Wait a minute, hang on a sec. Okay, the stuff that we saw leaked was all fake. All of it was fake. But they did say that there may be a pro. It's not released at the same time as a regular one.
I didn't say there
No,
was.
that's going to come way later. Well, I don't know about way later, but it'll come later. Which is a good thing, because if it suddenly did that and you're like, okay, wait a minute, everything's different now, I got to change all my accessories, that piss everybody off. You spend a lot of money on these things, and all of a sudden all the accessories you bought are useless. You got to buy new accessories, and you don't care about the second lens, because most people won't. I guarantee you that's only going to be for people who really want it. Personally, I wouldn't mind if it's a decent zoom lens, not zoom, that's a wrong word, but telephoto. Then I wouldn't mind it at all. But I think I also heard that the Extra Muse, because it's technically a DJI, is going to have its updated version as well, but not the dual camera one, as far as I know. At least not that.
Yeah, it does say that they're aiming a mid 2026 launch for the Pro, and the Pro is what is targeted to have that dual lens.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but the regular one is supposed to be sooner than that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember when.
Yeah.
What, June or something?
This article I have here doesn't say. I don't know, but yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely sooner.
Yeah. So, personally, when it comes to the updated one, if you own one of these and you don't need to shoot like whatever it does, 8K or something like that, I honestly don't. I mean, I haven't got it in my hands; it's not out yet. But I would honestly say why, because this thing is so incredible as it is, anyways. Um, just, the thought of, well, 8K, where are you going to put it? Now, again, if you want to use it for some, amateur filmmaking or something, then that's not that bad an idea, because you get way more detail that you can then work with. So,
Yeah.
But other than that, for an average vlogger, God, no, absolutely not. What would be the point? However, if you're going to wait it out and you do want to upgrade, and the Pro version is appealing to you because of that extra lens, that's a different story altogether. So if I had if it was out now and I had the money to get the thing, the regular one I wouldn't do. The pro one I probably would, but that's because me, photography and videography, and I like a good zoom lens. So
But so in addition to DJI, if you recall, I sent you that article about the Canon. Canon
yes, that's
it's not
what I
out,
forgot to mention. Yes,
but also the Insta360 has a
yes, they do.
vlogging camera that's very similar.
That
So
one's already
now
out.
we're yeah, I think that it is,
I
but
think, yeah.
it just recently came out. It didn't.
No, it's
It
very
hasn't
recent.
been
Yeah,
out like the whole time. Yeah. So now ultimately we're gonna have 4, 5 choices of these vlogging cameras, which is fantastic because I
yeah.
think it's going to level the cost to get across the board.
I don't know about that, but I think what it will do is it'll start to drop down a lot of the peripherals, uh, which I think is pretty good because now there's going to be a bit of a competition in there for, for a lot of things. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I'm actually really curious about the 360 because apparently they're making a lot of stuff. They've really been catching on a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? The Canon. That's going to be big for people who are Canon shooters, and maybe even for Nikon shooters, because I don't think Nikon's going to drop into this bucket. I don't think they kind of like to be late to the party. They've done that before, so I don't think they're going to dip their toes in this water just yet. If Nikon did, I think they'd kill it though, because Nikon glass and color science. But if you are a Canon shooter in photography or videography, and remember, they also make pro level broadcast quality cameras. Canon does. Not everything they have is consumer or professional photography cameras. So they do make cinema cameras and lenses. So they know what they're doing. So it's hard to beat this quality, but here's the thing about Canon. I have a feeling theirs actually shoots true log. And if it doesn't, they'll probably update it in the future. So
Yeah, I didn't say in the article I read, but wouldn't surprise me.
it wouldn't
Because
surprise me.
especially when Canon is more of the higher end, like the Nikons and the Sonys and all that, that they're designed or not designed. They probably originated for the actual shooter. Like I got
Yeah,
my
yeah.
$5,000 camera, and those things. People that are using those that might buy that Canon are going to want to do their own. What do you call it? Not colorizing.
Oh,
What do you call it
color
when
grading.
you color grading?
Yeah,
They're going to want to be able to do that themselves, and so I think that's definitely going to be an
yeah.
option. But these little cameras
That's
here,
me.
like these things are fantastic for someone like myself. That
Yeah,
for one, I don't have the skill set for all those camera features, and I don't want to learn it. It's not my forte. It's not what I really want. I'm not passionate about it. I love photography and I love taking videos. I love doing content, but I want to be able to have my phone, this device, or whatever I have that's like super easy point
you like
shoot
your
click
straight
kind
out
of
of the
thing.
box stuff,
Yeah.
which is
And
fine. Yeah. Sorry.
these make
Yes.
fantastic pictures these days. So,
Yeah. Oh no, they
um,
do. I mean, the video on this, the
yeah.
video on my phone, your phone, everybody's phones are good. The worst video on a phone made in the last few years is still 10 times better than the best one from 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's you really can't go wrong in that respect. For me, I'm falling more in love with cinematography, and obviously I'm not going to go, and even if I had the money and spend, $75,000 on rolls of film, where would I keep it anyways? But I like my stuff to look more cinematic, and I don't mean cinematic in the TikTok-y way. You just it's
TikToky.
going slow motion, so it's cinematic. No, that's not cinematic. Cinematic means it looks more like film. You don't have all this digital sharpness going on, all these lines in my old man face. aren't as obvious, but yet you can still see the age in my face. Watch an old movie with an old actor, one of Clint Eastwood's later movies, still shot on film. You can see all the wrinkles in his face, but it's not like you could cut yourself on the wrinkles. You know?
Yes.
I just before we got onto this, I was actually in DaVinci Resolve and I was editing a video I did way back in the winter. 3 feet of snow on the ground that day or something. It's terrible. And I was out in the backyard and I was looking at it. I was like, okay, I got it graded nice, and I got to put adding the grain to it, and then I freeze framed it. I was like, oh hell no! There were wrinkles in my skin that probably didn't even exist. It was so sharp that it was. It's like the individual snowflakes looked like they could slit your throat. So I had to fix that. And for me to make it look cinematic simply meant making sure well, first of all, I shot in 24 frames per second. So that's part of it. And I de-sharpened it. Not so it's blurry, just so that everything doesn't look so, you know.
Yeah. I think some people that don't, I don't like things super, super sharp either, because it ends up having that fake,
Yes.
it's not that it's so sharp. It's I don't know. To me, it just looks like
Listen, when
fake
the
cutouts.
hairs on your
Really weird.
face are glistening, it's too sharp. Like when they sparkle, little sparkles from every tiny little thing. It's overdone, and that's because all of these cameras, your phone, the Xtra Muse, all of them, add sharpening on top of the natural look on it. Some of the cameras that you use, sometimes phones and some of the vlogging cameras and stuff, allow you to de-sharpen a little bit. You can take the detail down slightly. I believe this does have a setting in here that does allow for that. I actually don't do that because I can do all that in post when I'm doing all my editing. Something you said you don't like to do. But a lot of the videos you shoot, if correct me if I'm wrong, have to do with family vacations and seeing
Yeah.
grandkids having fun and birthdays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You want all that
Yeah.
detail anyways.
Yeah.
When it comes to the
Yeah.
family stuff.
Yeah. I don't disagree. So, but moving off of that,
Yeah.
we need to talk about music.
Yeah. Music.
Because we talked again, Google, 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 Google. We should have called today's episode "Welcome to the Google." Mode.
Perhaps they already know that is the title. Welcome to Google Muse.
But they recently came out with the Flow, which they had the 30 seconds that you could do, I think it was, and then they came out with where you could do 3 minutes. And I remember sending you the link and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do this in studio. And it come out like phenomenal. We both made some actually really good little,
and yet, yeah,
not
and yet
music videos,
they
but
weren't perfect. And
no,
Suno was
but
still
it
better.
was way better.
But
It was
Suno,
way better than the first.
yeah, and Suno was still better at that point. Not by a hell of a lot, but it was.
Yeah, for sure. But Suno's been in the business doing this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So the fact that Google within 6 months has come out with a model that's pretty close in a lot of areas to competing with some aspects of Suno. I still think Suno has some advanced stuff that they don't have out yet. But I was actually really impressed with how well it generated. Sounded much better than those first generations that we played around with. 30 seconds, those things sounded like crap.
But you only got to the part as mentioning this of when Google first allowed us to actually make 3-minute ones, which you could do in the studio thing or on the app as long as you choose the pro version of Gemini, which of course you can't do as a free user. But now we're actually up to Google Flow Music, the actual standalone that you can do on the site or in the app on your phone. This is completely different because now you can actually go back and forth with what they call the producer, because that's what it actually used to be called. Google purchased it. recently, by the way, only I think it was February. And since
Yeah,
then,
not
they've
long.
rebranded the heck out of it, and they've launched it as Google Flow Music. And it is in very many ways superior to Suno. However, they're not so far ahead of Suno. But here's the thing about it: Suno's vocals, no matter what you put out, still sound like the same 4 or 5 people singing different songs. So you make a rock song, sounds like a country song that sounds supposed to sound like a rock song. You make a disco song and it sounds like a pop song with a little country twang in it or something. And they never quite get that right. Now, this is all the vocals I'm talking about. They do the music pretty darn good. Um, the Google Flow Music, on the other hand, because it is completely using Gemini underneath it now. They literally slapped Gemini into a product that they purchased. This is why they were able to do it so fast. They said, okay, let's just put our model in here. So what your thing does now draws from Gemini. That's what it just instantly became smart. And now the voices sound different. And my first big test was, because I've tried this with Suno as well as a couple other models in the past, is to do heavy metal. Now, first of all, Suno, and I haven't used it in a few weeks, I admit, but every time I've ever tried, it always did speed metal. Wouldn't do any other kind of metal. It either wasn't metal at all or it was speed metal. That's not what I asked for. And if that's what I asked for, great, but I didn't. And the voices are never metal singers. Not even close. Gemini, or sorry, Google Flow Music nailed it first try. I told it exactly the type of voice I wanted, the amount of harshness I wanted into it, what I wanted to sound like, and I gave it inspiration for what I want it to be. You can't tell it to sound like Led Zeppelin, for instance. That's not metal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But you could say use this as inspiration, for the guitar or for the lead singer or for the lead guitar or for the bass player or the drummer, and mix and match different groups to do that. You can tell it exactly how many verses you want before the chorus, and if you want there to be a guitar solo, piano solo, sax solo, or whatever, and be very clear about it. Now, you don't get me wrong; you can do that with Suno too, but it'll still structure it exactly: verse 1, verse 2, solo, or sorry, bridge, solo, finish. No matter what you tell it, that's what it does every single time. Gemini will break that up. You can say, I only want one verse, I want a solo, I want a second verse, I want a solo, I want a coda in the end. And it'll do it like that. And that's an incredible. And the voices, country sounds like country, disco singer sounds like a disco singer, grunge sounds like a grunge singer.
Yeah, they definitely um, stepped up their game on that. I really like it. You're going to get to the point, I think, especially with Google, because of how many
Yeah.
tools they have that are so superior, that you're going to be able to make like a full production music video just by prompting. It's going to be able to create images. It's going to create B-roll. It's going to create A-roll. It's going to, do the sound, the music, the voice. I mean, yeah, I see you just being able to just prompt, what you want as a actual music video, and it's going to make it.
Yeah.
So that's what I see happen. So it's pretty cool. I really like it. I think, there for a while, I always thought that Google was just sitting on their laurels and they were letting Chat GPT just run off with the trophy. But I think they were just they weren't hedging their bets. They were, they were being very strategic in their releases and how they were putting everything together. And then when 3.0 dropped, it was like game over. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just their foot's been on the floor.
And of course, now we, what is it? Gemini. Oh, good God, I keep forgetting what they call it now. The light model of Gemini that not nano. I don't think it's the nano model, but anyways, there's a 3.2 they're talking about that's supposed to be coming out like any day now or something like that. That has some huge advantages to it. Or maybe it's not going to be until I/O, but that makes no sense because I'm pretty sure at I/O they're going to announce something better than 3.2. Now we don't know if it's going to be 4 or 3.5, but that's going to be the announcement of the big picture changes.
Yeah,
where there's going to be definitely more agentic abilities that you're going to be able to get to. I want to see if this works because I just want to give you an example of what I was able to do with this. So hopefully this plays. There we go. I don't want that to be too. See what I mean?
I can't hear it. I can't hear it at all.
You can't hear it? Okay.
No.
That's not working then. So we're not going to do that. Okay. We'll just forget about that for now. Forget that embarrassment. What to do with that? Oh, now it stopped playing altogether. Oh, no, it didn't. My earphone came out. I'll have to figure that out another time then.
Yeah.
Why is that not working? Yeah. That's so strange. It's going through the exact same thing that should have played through here. But I'll figure it out one day.
But sticking on the Google note, I have one, and you know what I'm about to say. I have one thing that I'm getting irritated about.
He's tired of Samsung, and he doesn't want to ever talk about them again.
This Pixel 10 Pro XL has been giving me some problems where fingerprint doesn't work, actual physical buttons don't work. You may be talking about freezes in the past, up for a few seconds. I literally just updated today, so we'll see. But
I never had any of those problems just to be clear, my Samsung. The monthly update may have fixed it. There are some sparse reports from other Pixel 10 users that it has fixed the issue. However, again, since the update only came out yesterday, like you said, the jury's still out. But that said, have you had the issue yet today since you updated?
Well, no, but I really haven't used my phone as much today because it's just been a really busy day. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously, I'll give it some time. So,
okay.
Well, I mean, it was literally like late afternoon when I did it because I had time while I was working and doing something that I didn't need the phone for. So I just let it.
Well, unlock it right now. Live on the air.
Yeah. I mean, it's worked every time I've unlocked it since I updated it, but I didn't have any issues this morning before the update. So,
well, one of them is a fluke, and one of them is a truth.
Yeah.
But I honestly, in all respect, though, I hope it works out for you. Not just because I think you should stick with Pixel, but because I don't want to see you have to go through that kind of garbage anyway. So, yeah, because apparently there have been a number of Pixel 10 users that have had that issue. So hopefully it's fixed for you and a bunch of people. and by the way, if anybody's wondering, this is something that came up in the March update. Although some of those my issues on a more minor scale have been around longer for some users.
Well, like I said, if I have to completely wipe it to fix it, it's going to get wiped to get traded in.
Yeah, but what's the point? If you can do that anyways, you have to do it anyways, so you might as well keep the phone.
Because I have no guarantee it's not going to be there when it comes back.
It's fine. You update it. It's not going to be a problem anymore.
We'll see. Anyways, that's my gripe.
All right.
My Google gripe.
So, yeah, that's a pretty good gripe. On the I was going to say on the good news front, but it's just news, not necessarily good or bad. It depends. But what else we talked about Apple, we talked about Google, and we talked about Google, and we talked about Google, and we talked about Google. Do we have any Claude news? Oh, that's right. It's to do with Google. Do we have any ChatGPT news?
Well, they have come out with some. I saw Altman tweet something about some kind of light model or something. I forget exactly what it was, but apparently is really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I saw it in passing because I didn't have time to like really
Oh,
read it.
Google's teasing what they call a screenless wearable.
A
Now, I know
screenless
nothing more
wearable.
than that, and neither does anybody because they literally just
What?
tweeted screenless wearable. That's it. That was literally all they did. Yeah, it's probably going to be like a band that you wear on your wrist to do, your biometric stuff and health, fitness tracking and sleep tracking and whatever, right? But without having to wear a watch, so you can wear it to bed, you can wear it to the gym. You don't have to worry about the watch being on your wrist. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like a ring, but probably a wristband. I'm saying probably because nobody knows. They didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
They put a small, tiny little picture of what looks like a woven band and a piece of metal attached to it. That's it. So, I mean, it's kind of like
Well,
you might be old enough to remember this. You remember the Got Milk commercials, right?
oh yeah.
Do you remember when it started?
No.
Okay, they had a cryptic sort of thing, and it'd say, so I can't remember how it started, but it was like, you got it or something like that, and blah, blah. That didn't last very long. The more cryptic one though, if I remember correctly now, though, was you remember the Yellow Page ads that they used to do back in the late '70s, early '80s. I can't even remember what they said, but it was like cryptic, and people were like trying to guess what the ad was supposed to be. A few weeks later, it would add some information, but nothing. And then, like 6 months after they started doing it, it would just say whatever that was, and then the answer was the Yellow Pages with the little. Whoops! Where's my camera with the little finger walking? Remember that?
Yeah.
Hey, there's young people going, "What are you talking about? Yellow Pages? What
Yeah.
are Yellow Pages?
Yeah.
What's with the fingers? Let your fingers do the walking through the Yellow Pages."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Yellow
Yeah.
Pages were the business section of the phone book, which in some cities, the white pages and yellow pages were all one book,
Yeah.
this thick. That's how you found somebody's phone number.
Yeah. White pages were people, and yellow
Residential.
was
Yeah.
business.
So if you wanted to
Yeah.
order a pizza, you went, where's the pizza pages? And you found it, and you have to decide Domino's, Pizza Hut, whatever.
You know, one of my favorite ads was the Memorex ad where the dude's sitting back in the
Oh
chair,
yeah, that was
and
brilliant.
he turns on, he plays his cassette player. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
Is it live?
that was one of my favorite.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Yeah, and his chair slowly starts scooting back from the from the base.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Commercials had, I don't know, they thought about this kind of stuff, all right? The AI, I promise you, I saw a commercial last week and immediately recognized the entire commercial was AI. Every single pixel of it was AI. It disgusted me. Well, you think about it, they put actors out of work when they do that. It's a pain in the ass. Oh, speaking of which, the Google Music or Flow Music thing. That's great for fun. Google. I gotta see if I can find this on here. I hate when a mouse doesn't work. There it is. Yeah. Sorry, just give me 1 second. There it is. I already mentioned that part. Okay. On May 6th, Google signed a massive deal with Believe and its subsidiary TuneCore to put flow music directly in the hands of professional artists and songwriters as a creative collaborator. Now, this is where I think that this is a. Did I move my camera? Uh, my whole camera is
I
completely cockeyed. Anyways, using it as a tool as a musician. There's actually, you'd be surprised, a lot of musicians that don't read or write music, but are phenomenal musicians, great bass players or guitarists or drummers, a lot of drummers that don't read and write music. Don't get me wrong, a lot do. But some don't. And, being able to actually contribute to songwriting by basically describing what you want to this and having it basically put it together, and then you can have Gemini notate this for you And then you can just basically hand this in to the rest of the band or your session musicians or whatever. And then go, yeah, I like this, but let's just change this. And Bob's your uncle. We're done. This is good. I put together a song like that myself, and I had to do just, this instrument, that instrument, and that instrument, no vocals. And then I put that into it, and I said, I want something like this, but I want these instruments instead. And then I put it into my digital audio workstation, or DAW as they call it. And I basically mixed it, mastered it. And I was like, oh, this sounds pretty good. Now, if you just add this and add that, I could do that. I can't write music because I don't read music. I understand it and I get it, but I still can't look at a sheet music and go, oh, I know what that is. Right? So being able to do that allows me to do it. I mean, I can tell it that I want it to be, in the key of, C or something like that, but I still don't know what the key of C sounds like unless I actually play it or hear it. Right. Because I'm not a professional musician. I play music. There's a difference. Huge difference.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So it's an excellent tool. So I think that's a great idea. I don't know the ins and outs of all that yet because I haven't seen the full announcement of it, but I'm curious. I want to know more about it. And then, definitely we find out more about that in the next podcast and talk more. There'll probably be a lot more news than just that too coming out daily.
Probably.
AI news.
Daily.
Right now. Daily. And Google.
Especially the closer we get to I.O., it's going to
get serious. But before I.O., we have the Android show, which I think is coming up in a couple of days, few days. Whatever it is, it's a week before I.O. When's I.O. again? That's not the 20th, actually, right?
15th or 20th or something like that, yeah.
For the Android show, you mean?
No, for I.O.
I.O.'s the 15th to 20th? Oh, crying out loud, now you're going to make me look.
I'm pretty sure.
When is Google I.O. and when is the Android show? Yeah, now see, I'm going to ask the old ball and chain here. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist. Android show is Tuesday, May 12th, 1 p.m. I guess that's my time. Google I.O. Main keynote, also 1 p.m., but obviously a week later, Tuesday, May 19th.
Okay. So, I knew it was somewhere between there.
Yeah. So I will be either watching or setting a reminder to watch later. I actually don't want to be surprised by news items all day long if I'm out doing something and working or whatever. I do not want that to happen. I want to watch and be as surprised as everyone else at the stuff that I don't know yet. I like these.
Unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity to watch it work like I used to. So.
Yeah, but are you gonna be, like looking at every little ding that says, oh, this new feature, or are you gonna like try to ignore that and watch it later when because you're gonna be busy at home doing videos for the other channel.
It just depends on what's going on that day and night, whatever.
Well, I swear though, I miss the days when they did all of these things in front of live audiences all the time. I think Google's one of the few that still do with I.O. Stop listening to me, I told you. But that's,
all right. Well, I think that about covers it for today.
We probably covered more than enough today.
From the Google show.
Yeah. Google. I don't want to get takedown orders, so it's Google show. Google. That was the original name for the company. They just misspelled it. Google it.
Yeah.
I am Lionel, and I am in Toronto, Canada.
I am Robert in Nashville, Tennessee, and we'll see you next week. Peace.